Amplified unit, salute, Smackdown 11025. The amped up review. I guess the question now is 3 hours of Monday Night Raw more of a chore to get through than 3 hours of Smackdown? Because if these are how the 3 hour Smackdowns are going to run, these are absolutely brutal to get through. I wish I could tell you it's a 3 hour show. I wish in this review I could tell you we're going to talk about an epic main event that we were glued to the television. I wish I could tell you the women's division, the tag team division, the mid-card division was on full display, full throttle, in the most best of ways imaginable. I wish I could tell you all of this. I wish I could tell you there was like 3 or 4 moments from last night we're really going to jump into and talk about because they were so good. I can't do any of that. I can tell you that Cody and KO brawled for the kabillionth time. Slight exaggeration, but only slight. I can tell you Naomi once again looked up at the lights because they put her in a multi-person schmaz match and said she can't lose, she can't lose, she can't lose. Yay, Naomi's in this. That's right. She can always lose. I can tell you that we had some tag team matches. What? How would anybody, if you're trying to attract a casual fan for sure, but even fans that watch this product week in and week out, how do you see these tag matches and go, this is how I'm so glad I'm spending my Friday night? Because you haven't built these tag teams at all. You're throwing them in tag matches like this. Tiffy time. This is tied in with Naomi, right? The number one contender for Tiffany, Stratton. Let's just have a multi-person schmaz match. Why create a real storyline? Let's just throw a bunch of talent out there. We'll come up with the number one contender via a W. And we'll count how many times that the bootleg Bloodline was chased off by Cody Rhodes. We'll do all of that in this review. And that's it. I'm literally looking at my notes right now, 3 hours, and they are sad. But that's 3 hours of Smackdown. Now, thankfully, the good news is we are going back to 2 hours. I believe in June is the word that we are getting. Hopefully that is correct. Hopefully that is accurate. June, we are back to 2 hours. Hunter knows it cannot stay at 3 hours. It'll go off the rails even more. Ari is now aware of this. Nick Khan knows this. USA knows this, right? This is a situation where quality over quantity. You're still trying to find quality, but the quantity, too much. Hunter himself, we say this a billion times on this channel, Hunter has told everybody the third hour is just too difficult. It's so hard. So why give him more hours? It's bad enough he's got 3 hours of Raw that he cannot control. Now you're going to give him a third hour on SmackDown, and this is the show that we get. That's the problem. I would love to tell you all the awesome stuff that happened last night, but unfortunately, nothing awesome happened. Nothing even really good. We'll talk about it. You'll see. I know a lot of you guys don't watch the shows. You listen to BC, and if there's some good stuff, you'll go back and watch. If not, you say, hey, BC, thank you for saving me the time. Well, for this 3 hours, you are absolutely welcome because this was a chore. There was many times last night where I was like, how is it only the first hour and a half? How is this only 2 hours into the show? It can't be, guys. You can only have a 3 hour pro wrestling show if it's really, really good. Like, really good. And like, there's so many storylines that are off the chart. And there's so many things. And when one thing ends, you're on to the next. But like, you're engaged. You're interested. You want to see what's up next with this storyline. And then this storyline. And we get none of that last night. Let me go through this because I don't have a bunch of time on this or for this review. A lot of travel, a lot of business has to be attended to today. So I want to get through this. It's not going to take a lot of time, even though it was a 3 hour SmackDown. Trust me when I say it will not take a lot of time. And you guys can decide for yourself if you should go back and check this show out. Before we actually get going, a big shout out to longtime channel subscriber Clint Green. Over the course of 2 separate uploads, chucking a coffee at the channel. First one, I believe, was one of the Raw reviews that we cut. We did an extended live stream over 2 hour version because Raw was so big this week. It was on Netflix for the very first time. And then we did a condensed Raw review, which ended up becoming just for channel members. So if you're a channel member, you can still catch that condensed one. We had a lot of fun in that shorter review as well. And then Clint Green in yesterday's upload talking about Logan Paul, Gunther, and facing each other for the championship in the main event of WrestleMania 41 in Vegas. You just can't do that. But that's what's being talked about. So we talked about it in yesterday's upload. And Clint Green, 2 separate uploads, 2 separate coffees. That's badass, dude. Very cool. Appreciate you big time. You know that. Clint Green. That's awesome. And also Ron C. 23. Ron C is a long time, big time Charlie Flair supporter. Chucking a coffee at the channel. I'm not giving you a woo yet, Ron C. Trust me, she's coming back and she's probably going to win all these championships. She's probably going to eclipse her father's record. So I'll be sending out a bunch of woos for you. I'm not a big Charlie. If you're new to the channel, I'm not a big Charlie supporter. She's good in areas, right? She doesn't check off every box for BC. But Ron C23, man. We'll give you a bigger woo when she comes back and does all her Charlie Flair things. Ron C23, Clint Green. Appreciate you big time. Badass. Let's jump into it. SmackDown 110-25. Paul Heyman starts this show. Calls out Cody Rhodes to the ring. Informs Cody that Roman is entering the Rumble and he wants his title back. Now, before Cody can even respond, KO interrupts from the crowd. Cody runs into the crowd and come on, you know what they do. They brawl. This time it's just in the crowd. So they're going at it, tussling in the crowd. Paul Heyman's like, yeah, you get him, Cody. Paul Heyman turns around and Fatu and Tonga are pretty much cornering Paul Heyman. Paul's cowering, no, please, I'm just a wise man, please. Jimmy Uso for the save. But the numbers game prevails, so Jimmy Uso ends up getting annihilated. And then all of a sudden, Cody comes down from the crowd. So he took care of Kevin Owens somewhere. And now he thinks he's going to come to the ring and take out Tonga and Fatu by himself. And that's actually what happens because Jimmy Uso is down and out. Cody comes back. Cody clears the ring. Fatu and Tonga have to run off after he takes them both out. Is that how you want to portray Fatu? I don't know. It's clearly how Hunter wanted to. But it was odd, right? I know the face is supposed to, he's hulking up. Cody's hulking up. But it was just weird because Fatu alone, you would think, would stand up to him. But then you have Tonga as well. And what didn't make sense is you don't have like a wise man. Like Paul Heyman will like back you up and say, not now. Think, not now, right? All you would have is Tonga. But why would Tonga want to stop fighting Cody when it's 2-on-1? These are just questions I ask, but of course it's nitpicking, it's being too negative. Why question Hunter's booking? Because it has to be, and I will, and I can, and I just do. That's why. Because it just doesn't make sense. And it would not be the only time last night that Fatu would be kind of running off. But that was the entire first segment. I'm not sure what this does for anything. I'm not sure how this makes you want to see Cody and KO at Rumble. We've already seen the match a couple of times as faces, both faces, then as face and heel. We've seen them brawl a kabillion times. And it wouldn't be the last time. They would actually brawl later, would they not? I think they end up brawling again. Yes, they do. Yeah, end of the show. So, if you haven't had enough of them brawling, don't worry. They'll brawl later in the show. And that was it. And Tama Tonga and Fatu kind of upset with Paul Heyman. But they could have been upset at Cody, but they chose not to come out. Right? Cody interfered in the match too. They weren't upset with Cody until Cody came to the ring and took them out. So Cody was more frustrated with them than they were with him. I hope this makes... I'm trying to make sense out of something that doesn't, but if that first 20 some odd minutes got you guys excited, cool, man. That's awesome. I'm not even joking. I wish I could get to that. I wish I could lower my bar a little bit to have that first segment start off a 3-hour SmackDown in a good way. That gets me amped up. But the first matchup of the night, I get to see Chelsea Green, big supporter of Chelsea. Chelsea, the new holder of this new U.S. championship for the women. And I just think that's such a good call. You know, it just fits her perfectly. Her attire now matches the title. Chelsea's going all in on this, and I love it. I knew she would. So Chelsea Green takes on Michin for this title last night. I think it was for the title, correct? And it's a matchup that we've seen in the past couple of times, even a dumpster match. So you see it on paper and you're like, what? Why just, like, how does that excite your base when they read this, when they hear that this is what's being promoted? How many people are really going, whoa, Chelsea and Michin tonight again? Or are they just going, oh, Chelsea's taking on Michin again? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, oh, another rematch. But it is what it is. Chelsea versus Michin, just under 10-minute match in length. That's it. They just gave him just under 10 minutes. Michin is in there like twerking on Chelsea. She stops the match. Chelsea's down and out in the corner. This is where you go for it. There's a title on the line. And yes, the title was on the line because it was out there on the little platform. So the title's on the line. Chelsea's knocked out in the corner. This is where you go for it. And instead, Michin just stops and she turns and she starts like twerking, and very slowly, like one ass cheek, like the left, then the middle, then the right, and then the I don't know why BC's attempting to show you, but Michin, again, it was odd. BC was totally here for it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, just for the record, but it was just very odd. I didn't understand why. The middle of the match, Chelsea's down and out, and then to do it that slowly, it's like she really wanted Chelsea to check out her new moves. It was very odd. And when you're paying too much attention to Piper Niven on the outside, and when you're twerking, you're probably not going to win a championship. And such is the case in this scenario. Chelsea Green pins Michin via top rope crossbody reversal. And maybe a handful of tights as well. But hey, all is fair in love and war, and Chelsea Green wins this matchup, keeps her championship. Again, I'll never frown upon these beautiful ladies shaking their ass if that's what they choose to do. BC is here for it. But there's times in the match where it's like a little bragging or a little FU. I get it. And then there's times where it's like, dude, you just stopped the match to do that? It was just odd. I don't know. So Chelsea Green has a match, keeps her championship. Again, watching a rematch and watching Michin look up at the lights, and I don't know what this does for the Chelsea reign. You really have to ignite a storyline more than just having her have matchups, right? So instead of Hunter going, hey, let's have a Chelsea wrestle, let's have a rematch with Michin because they have a thing for the last couple of months. Instead of doing that, think, okay, Chelsea has the title. Chelsea already has Michin in the rearview mirror. Let's actually think of something new for Chelsea. Let's ignite a storyline. Let's captivate our audience and make them care about what Chelsea is doing going forward. That's what we need to do, guys. It's not just about wrestling matches or even W's and L's. It's about, do we care? What are they doing that is significant? What is their importance? That's what Hunter has to ask when he is going over all of this with the writers and approving things. What is it doing for Chelsea? What does this do for Michin? And sadly, the answer is nothing for both. That's my piece on it. Now, moving on, we go to, you talk about irrelevant. Humberto and Garza defeat Pretty Deadly via pinfall. Humberto gets the ultimate pin over one of Pretty Dead. I don't even know who's who anymore. I stopped caring months ago. I know one is called like Prince Elliot or something, right? I think it's Prince Elliot. And the other one is like Sir Williams, maybe. I don't know. Prince, Sir. I don't know. Highness, Sir Highness Hank. I don't even know the other one's name. I think one is Prince Elliot, and I couldn't tell you any more than that. I stopped caring months ago. And them getting beat by Humberto and Garza in the middle of a SmackDown, unannounced hours earlier, by the way. I don't know what this is supposed. This is what I mean. What does this do for Humberto and Garza? Are we now supposed to go, whoa, they won that match, man. There's something. They're big, man. They're going to be something even bigger than what they were the last 5 years. And Pretty Deadly, what are we supposed to say about this? What do we say about Pretty Deadly? This is all I'm asking. What is this booking? What does this show do for anybody? Because we're going into hour number 2. and nothing has evolved into anything. Nothing has progressed. Nothing is like must see for the next week. It's wild, man. It's wild. Like you should be having fun writing these shows and producing them. These should be fun, man. You know, you get to produce pro wrestling and write creative for pro wrestling, a primetime television show with the biggest company in the world. And it's almost like it's a chore for the writers. It's a chore for Hunter. It is a chore for them to get through another 3 hours just to get to Raw to do another 3 hours. To them, it's like Groundhog Day. And we're feeling that as an audience. Hour number 2. LA Knight versus Shinsuke for the IC title. 14-minute match ending in a DQ when Fatu and Tonga attacked LA. If you're wondering why, earlier in the night, LA, where Nick Aldis was, all the suits and ties, they were trying to get Fatu out of the building. LA Knight just steamrolls the guy out of the door and shuts it and thinks that he won't see Fatu the rest of the night. So right when he did that, I'm like, well, there's their out. That's what they're going to... The match that LA is going to have for the title is going to be interrupted by them, obviously, and that's how they set it up. LA, for some reason, out of the blue, picked a fight with Fatu and knocked him out of the door. And sure enough, guys, end of this matchup, here comes Fatu and Tonga, and then Cody and Jimmy for the save. So Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso come down to the ring. They're still just fired up to get to the bootleg bloodline, or at least 2 members, Tonga and Fatu. So they chase them off, guys. No lie, Fatu and Tonga are in the crowd at this point. They want nothing to do with Cody and Jimmy. That's twice in 76 minutes that Fatu was chased off by Cody Rhodes, Fatu and Tama Tonga. Twice in 76 minutes. If that's the best way you want to book Fatu, okay, but he can't constantly just be running from people just like he's Tonga Loa. You know, Loa is injured, and it's almost like they just substituted Loa with Fatu. The problem is Loa can run away from people. Loa can be looking up at the lights. Loa can get his ass kicked by the faces every week. Fatu cannot do that. He's too valuable. He can actually be something even bigger. It's weird booking. And then at the end of this, Cody Rhodes, all fired up, just said, let's have a tag match tonight. So that's your main event. Tama Tonga, Fatu versus Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso. Okay. I mean, if that really excited, if watching the same people brawl and fight every single show, every single week, if that's entertaining to you guys, man, more power to you. I mean, you're getting what you're tuning in for. That's awesome. Honestly, I really do wish I could lower my bar and enjoy the same thing that I've seen 1,000 times before. But I want things to progress and evolve in the right direction. So it's weird, man. So anyway, Shinsuke keeps his championship, loses the match, keeps his championship, and nothing was, that was their big advertised match this whole week. And oddly, the bootleg Bloodline and LA Knight were in some type of weird beef. Hour number 2 continued with Motor City defeating A-Town Down Under. This was like 16 minutes, I think. It felt like 116 minutes. It's just, I'd be lying if I told you I wanted to see A-Town Down and Motor City at 10 o'clock at night on my Friday night. But that's what we got. Motor City defeats A-Town Down. All right, and nothing, guys. That's it. I honestly, man, I'm watching this. I'm doing my due diligence. I'm doing my notes. I'm reviewing this for you guys. I want to talk about the awesome story that happened after this match. The huge angle that ignited. Nothing. Motor City defeats A-Town Down. And I guess we're supposed to go, whoa, man, what a tag match. Hour number 3, finally. At this point, I'm like, how is it only hour 3? But hour 3 does indeed mean it's Tiffy time. Stratton in-ring promo. She wants respect put on her name. Nia Jax is out next. Nia says, you're nothing without me. I made you. Nia then says, your time is up. Give me my title back or I'm going to take it. So then Bebe interrupts, right? Bayley wants a title match herself. Then Naomi and Bianca come down to the ring. You guessed it. They also want a title match. And guess what else? Then they all brawled. So Bayley's out there with Nia. Bianca comes out there. Naomi comes out there. They all want a title from Tiffany. Title match. And then they all just brawl. It's just all Hunter has. He's just, all of you guys brawl. And then I'm going to have Nick Aldis come out like Teddy Long, holla, 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 playa. And he's going to announce a fatal four-way. And that's what we did. Nick Aldis comes out and he sees him brawl. And he says, now, ladies, I just had a really good idea. All four of you match up now. Winner gets the number one contendership. So they had a match. Bayley pins Naomi via Rose Plant. That's right. I'll say it again. Shouldn't be shocked. Bayley pins Naomi via Rose Plant. Bianca inadvertently hit Nay with her ponytail. So it will be interesting to see if anything comes from that, right? Will Nay be upset that, Bianca kind of cost her? But she didn't, man. Bayley hit her clean with that Rose Plant, dude. So it's just Bayley pinning Naomi yet again. So Bayley will be taking on Tiffany Stratton. The problem is Tiffany's more almost like a face now, right? Especially after that cash-in. So to have her first big matchup be against another face Bayley, this is where I don't understand why Hunter feels he has to do this. Just put her in there with a heel so that Tiffany can get all the love and really be portrayed as such. I don't understand why Hunter has to muddy his own waters. Makes no sense. And now it's just going to be a split crowd. Then we went into the main event, guys. We're already there. Main event, Cody and Big Jim. I don't think he's calling himself Big Jim anymore, is he? I still think it's funny. I wish he did just because it's funny, right? It's like Cope and Big Jim. I think that was all in the same week, wasn't it? Anyway, Cody and Big Jim Uso, they take on Fatu and Tonga. Cody and KO would somehow, or KO came out, I guess. I forgot how. They brawled, all right, for the 1,568th time. They just start brawling. They took it into the crowd again. Cody dive bombs KO into this table that was set up on the outside. Got to give KO some daps, though. Even when he was put through the table, he's still trying to punch Cody and stuff. I thought that was phenomenal. Phenomenal work with KO. KO and Cody are consummate professionals. They're so good. But I just don't know how many brawls I have left in the tank to give an absolute fuck about. I really don't. Everything that Hunter wants to achieve has to do, the vehicle to get there is a brawl. Brawl, 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 brawl. The problem with Cody and KO is I've seen him brawl 1,458 times. Twice last night. I don't know how any more brawling is supposed to get us to caring about this matchup at Rumble. There's still a couple weeks left. You're going to have to get creative at some point. You're going to have to put layers onto this story that doesn't have them just brawling. You're just going to have to do it. Because now they're putting these dudes on the Monday show as well. So now you're going to see the same thing twice a week, twice a show. That's 4 brawls a week. Hope that makes sense. And that's it. I think Fatu and Tonga picked up the W, correct? I think Big Jim was looking up at the lights last night because Cody took off the brawl with KO. I believe that's how it took place. At that point, I was so zoned out. Do you guys want to know the big selling point for next week? The big thing to make you care and go, oh, this is must see. Guys, they're promoting the return of Solo Sikoa. I'm not joking. Guys, if you didn't watch the show, they're not just saying Solo will be there next week, right? BC is telling you they're literally promoting this as Solo returns. I just saw him on Monday. What's he returning to? SmackDown? Wasn't he just there a week ago? He was just on SmackDown. And he was just on Raw a few days ago. So yeehaw! Solo returns. Well, business just picked up, as Jim Ross would say. Guys, so I did the 3 hours of notes, right? I have no coffee with me. I have to go get coffee. It seems like I'm exhausted. I definitely am. I Watched all 3 hours in its entirety in real time for you guys. I pushed all my business aside, got all that stuff done around 3 a.m., was finally after the gym, was able to go to bed maybe around 5 a.m., get up at about 6:12 a.m. So yeah, I'm exhausted, and it sucks because I can't even speak positively. There's nothing to talk about on this show that was like, oh man, I'm so glad I caught it because this happened and that happened. This is a chore to get through. The good news is Hunter knows this. Everybody knows this, and they're taking that third hour away. I think we have to wait until June. They're going to let WrestleMania season pass, try to get that lead into SummerSlam, towards SummerSlam anyway, and then they're going to take it away. But it can't come soon enough. You can't do this. Even 2 hours is a drag if you're not going to have creative. That's actually creative. But this was just not good. And I'm even sick of playing the game afterwards, right? After every show, right? Fans are always trying to go, that was a good show. That show missed, man. No, it hit, man. That was a good one. It was a decent show, right? We try to justify it when we all know the truth. It was a drag. It wasn't fun. And if we missed it, we would have missed nothing. BC. That's what I got for you guys on the 11025 review for SmackDown. Until next time, and there will be that next time. We'll be more amped up. Hopefully the shows will amp us up. That's the hope. The hope is that, these shows give us something to be excited about. But I got some coffee to go get. 44 dive, that's a wrap. BC, saying salute. Check you.